Oh, hey, didn't see you there. Welcome back to the Totally Unstructured podcast, where it's not structured, it's not... Fuck, I don't even remember my intro. Guy, I psyched myself out and don't even remember my own intro. Welcome back to Totally Unstructured, where there's no script, there's no structure, it's totally...
Unrelated.
Well, I mean, some things could be... Well, is anything unrelated if it's totally unstructured? What can be related and what can be unrelated if it is already unstructured? Mm-hmm. No, is not an answer. Okay, anyways.
The reason why I was laughing is because he was waiting for the transition, and he was just like...
Well, because I was fading out the music, and I was like, we need to have a cool intro here, and I was thinking about it, and then I just went, oh, I'll just do the good, oh, hi, didn't see you there, and just kind of go with that whole ordeal, but that's not what happened. Hi, everybody, welcome back to the Totally Unstructured podcast, where there's no script, there's no structure, it's totally unstructured, and we are your hosts, Riffixix and WinglessValkyrie.
You forgot your own
No,
name.
I was about to say Torsten, but I was like, it doesn't make sense to go Riffixix and Torsten. It's like, my name's Wingless, and this is Jackson. It's just, it's
You've done it before.
I mean, yeah, I've done everything.
What's stopping you now?
Nothing. Fine. This is Riffixix, and I'm Torsten. Also, I'm Wingless, and this is Jackson. There. Are you happy?
No.
Then we've achieved...
Nothing.
Solidarity between each other. Anyways, hello everybody, welcome back. It has actually been exactly 2 weeks since our last podcast because we are nothing if not structured, Lamau. But yes, we are back. We are once again doing the thing where we talk into your eardrums, and for those of you watching us either live or on YouTube afterwards, we're waving at your face holes, and you're hopefully enjoying us. If this is your first time listening to the podcast, wow, I'm surprised you made it this far. Good on you. You're gonna have a good time. So, we will be here for about an hour with you today. It'll be a hard cut off an hour, unlike most of the podcasts where I say we're about to end, and you look at the timeline, you're like, there's 40 minutes left. This motherfucker lying. So it will actually be an hour because Jackson has a hard cut off. So before we continue anything else today, we're going to go with Jackson because Jackson has a mini topic that he wants to talk about today. And Jackson doesn't get to say a lot. Well, he does get to say a lot, but he doesn't say a lot. So I'm going to let him open with this topic and we can listen to him. So you said it was about D&D and your experience with D&D or something about that. But that was really about all you alluded to. So feel free to continue with the rest.
So throughout my many years now of playing D&D with both Tor and Ashy as DMs and Logan, I've come to, I've realized this a long time ago, but it's something that's just like, I wonder if I can change. I wonder if I can mold it a little differently. And it's the way that my characters start off in one way. That maybe it's like life, and they're supposed to be happy-go-lucky-ish, but still driven towards what they want to do. But I feel like a lot of my characters, they start very positive, but then as the campaign goes on, whether or not it's things that happen to them or things are either way, it just ends up where they're more like a different part of me that's more cynical, maybe more driven to what's forced upon them to do. But they're very cynical. They're very, it's hard to describe. They're not as.
They're not as optimistic?
Yeah, that's definitely not optimistic. But they're very downtrodden. They're like
more gritty.
Absolutely more gritty, which might be exactly the way that it should be, because going through a campaign is not exactly an easy ordeal.
No,
especially when you're fighting dragons in Dragonlance, because there's definitely dragons in Dragonlance.
There is no dragons in Dragonlance. There's also no Dragonlances in Dragonlance.
This man is full of lies.
We're running Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen, and they're having a great time because there's no dragons in Dragonlance, and there are no Dragonlances in Dragonlance either.
There is no war in Ba Sing Se.
There is no war in Ba Sing Se.
So, but that, even then, so going with the character that I'm playing right now, Linnaeus, he didn't start really happy, but he's definitely a lot more gritty now. Like, absolutely, even as of last session, he's even more like, I need to do this, and I need to do it now. Like, he definitely driven is a way to put it, but he's also very much, he basically died in the session before, essentially, but when he got to the point where it was, like, him, and he was basically being questioned before, in his mind, he was being killed. So, and I've had this happen a few times where my characters will just literally laugh, because there's nothing else they can do.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say that's just a character thing, because a lot of people both in D&D and out of D&D, just IRL. When shit gets so overwhelming, they feel like they have to respond, the only way they can respond is by laughing.
And I do have that is one of the mechanisms that I have, like just me personally.
See,
so I understand why my character would.
I don't have that. I just go quiet and I just stay very silent. Like anytime anything gets so intense or serious or anything, I just shut down and I just okay, and I just wait. And I just go absolutely silent and don't do anything. But I know a lot of people have the tendency to just, if something gets overwhelming, and they just go,
it's fucking hilarious.
And they just start like panic laughing or even just like actual laughing because that's just their response to things. I mean, and I've seen it the most time I see it. There's a YouTuber, I can't remember his name, but he does financial talks with people who are in horrendous financial situations, and they come onto the show, and he will have a talk with them, and he will like look at all their finances, and he will explain how to fix it, and he will get them out of the problem, and he will give them the solutions. Like
as they're going through it, it's
yes, but every time he brings up something, it's like, why are you paying this much money? And they're just like, I don't know. That's how I do it. And he's like, you understand this is ruining your life, right? Like this, if you don't do anything about this, in 6 months to a year, you will be bankrupt. You will be financially penniless. And they laugh. And it's awful to see it because your immediate reaction is like, these people don't fucking care. These people are just like, it's a joke.
They obviously do, but there's nothing else for them to do.
Exactly. And that's the thing is you have to realize is like, they do care because they asked to come onto the show to get help because they know they need help. So clearly
that's a big step.
Yeah, it's a massive step. So like they know that they have to do something, but it's just one of those things where like when you were given the overwhelming odds of like you will be financially ruined in 6 months, and their only response is to laugh. So I can understand just being like, he's just laughing because there's nothing else he can do. So I fully get that.
I'll give you a picture. He's at like what 4 HP, 1 HP, 4 HP. Literally fucking no resources available to him at all. Paralyzed, incapacitated, and just laying there. What else is a man to do when he's face down by a humanoid black dragon and like another 3 other dragons and 2 other very strong people? It's like, what do you do?
Yep. And no allies. And the only other ally is also dead. So
is also in the exact same position.
Yeah.
So it's like, I get for this particular character, I get that was his reaction, but it's not the only time I've done it.
No, but I would say that's, like you mentioned before, though, it's not a character thing. I would say it's a Jackson thing. Because every character anybody plays will have parts of that player in them. Even if you try to make the most different type of character you can, there will always be a part of you in that character because you're the one that created the character and you're the one playing it.
It is your worldview that is influencing theirs, essentially.
And I think that shows more so than anything in split decisions. When you have to make a decision and you don't really have time to think, your character will usually do the same thing that you would do in that situation because it's the fastest thing for your brain to think of, like, this is what I got to do. But if you have time,
usually later I'm like, oh fuck, I should have done that.
But a lot of people will, like, if they give time to think, they go, okay, what would my character do? And they will get in that mindset of thinking about, like, how should I react as my character? But a lot of times it's just like, what are you doing? We got to go. We got to do this thing. It's usually, it then falls back on a primal instinct of like, what would I, Torsten, do? What would I, Jackson, do? And you just, if time is of the essence, you just kind of force your character into doing that. And that's where it shows most of the time. Not all the time, but most of the time that's where I can see most players just be like, that's what I would do, and that's what they would do. So
going back to Lythe, he was meant to be a very opposite character what you would have expected a death cleric to be, and for the most part I think I succeeded with him.
I would say
but
so.
There was times where either I wasn't in the right headspace or something was really going on where he did have those moments of being very cynical, being very unoptimistic, which is not the way that he was meant to be played. He was meant to be driven, and he absolutely was, but the way that it happened was not the way that he, the character, would have been. Okay. And I feel like I've fallen into that pitfall at least 3 or 4 times with different characters, getting into this cynic, very unoptimistic worldview, but still being very like, I'm gonna go do this, and whether or not anyone else wants to help me, I have to. And that might be a reason for my just because of me, or maybe just because of the way I put their backstories, but at the same time, I feel like it's something that I'm putting into them that doesn't necessarily need to be there. Because I tend to get really, they get really down, they get really low to the ground and gritty, and that isn't necessarily what the characters are meant to do. Like Fall here, absolutely 100% was that way.
Yes.
And he was designed that way, and ironically, he's my best played character that I feel that I've played the best. To be fair, Curse of Strahd is very easy to play a very good character in.
Yes, absolutely. it's well suited for that. So
you played as the DM. You gave me the opportunity to play a character that was really down in the dumps and rightfully so, and allowed me to thrive in it.
I
appreciate that.
Well, I will also say I appreciate the book for giving me that setting to do so, because the whole fucking setting is made to be down in the dumps in a way.
But then again,
there's a few areas of respite, but not a lot.
But that it didn't happen to every single character. Adelphi was not that way.
True.
She was a lot more up there. I cannot remember fucking Alex's character. Help me.
Oh yeah,
the dwarf, the life dwarf.
I can't remember his character's name either.
I can't either, and it makes me sad because he was literally legitimately so well played.
We'll find out in a moment. Thatter, that's
what
his
it
name.
was.
Yeah.
Yep. Yes. Thatter, I'm gonna say it right now, was your best played character, Alex.
I've told Alex that many times. Thatter is my favorite character because it's the most different characters he's ever played. And every other character that Alex has played has been some form of chaotic good, chaotic neutral. Going back to there's a little bit of the player in every character. Thatter was the most different character than Alex he ever played.
Fucking logic.
Yeah. But every other character is like, here's Alex, and whoop, there's the character. It's like they're only this much difference between them.
Yes, it's short Alex.
Yeah. So the thing about it is I feel bad every time I tell Alex that Thatter is my favorite character because it's the most different from Alex character that he's ever played. But it feels bad because what I'm telling you, Alex, is that every character that's like you, I don't like. And it's like, what do you mean by that, Noggle? So it's like, but
trust. Okay, we mean this in the most sincere way. We love playing with you. Is just how the cookie is crumbled.
Yeah.
Is just how the baby was born.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I've been thinking about, and it's like, do I need to have a character that's just completely opposite from that? Or is it just the way that recently that my bigger characters have gone that way? Because Alder was just sad.
Yeah.
But he had every opportunity to try and drag himself out of it, but he was designed to be that way. And then he got really mad.
Yeah.
Rightfully fucking so,
Yeah,
but
he did in fact get very mad. So.
And he still got that grittiness on him, which was more organic than I feel like in some of my other characters. So, I don't know. It's just one of my things where it's like, I just need to... maybe I need to tweak my character creation a little bit or rein myself in a little bit more.
Well, I'm gonna answer your question with a question because that's the best way to answer questions.
God damn it.
As, do you feel it's bad or wrong that your characters have this tendency to get more sorrow, more malicious and anger and resentment as campaigns go on? Do you feel that is a problem and that's why you're thinking this way? Or have you been told it's a problem and you're thinking it this way?
No. Myself, I'm just kind of realizing it's something that it's happened once, it's happened twice, happened thrice, it might be a pattern. And
okay.
Whether or not that's just a symptom of D&D campaigns being brutal, or if it's a symptom of just me going into pitfalls of characters, I don't know. And that's kind of what by calling attention to it, maybe I can, as I'm playing Linnaeus on any day that we're playing, I can rein myself in just a little bit, be like, would this really be where he's at this point? Which, right now, probably.
I'm gonna point out something as well, though, that I don't know if it's also influencing this, but I can see there might be a connection. A lot of your characters start out with a disability that you've asked for. And I think that might be influencing it because Linnaeus started out with an injury that you asked me to influence your character. So I have a system that every time you use half your psi points and all your psi points, you have to make a constitution roll or bad things happen, including damage to both you and those around you. And that was something you asked for.
Yep.
And then with fuck, we were just talking about it, my homebrew.
Here? No.
Yeah. No. Alder, that was it. And with Alder, you straight up asked and you were like, I want to have been singed and burned from a catastrophe caused by my familiar that I would like to then investigate and find out things about. And I was like, okay, so we're starting with trauma right at the gate. And then with Fall here, you started off with a blindfold and no eyes.
Nope. That came later.
That came later?
I said he was a drunk.
Oh, that's right. He started off right. Yes, he started.
Remember, you're the one who killed me.
Yes, I'm the one that killed you, and then you took the deal for no eyes, but we're still
Yes.
able to see. Right. Okay. So, but yes, you started out as a drunk, so there was already that kind of a pit that you were trying to crawl out of, and then it only got worse because Curse of Strahd. And yeah, then you ended up giving up your eyes in order to keep living. And it looked pretty bad. But a lot of people in that campaign ended up dying and deciding, I would rather have a disability or an ability. And
I got 2 of them.
You got 2.
I got 3.
3?
I got the spider climb too.
Oh, that's right. Yes, you did eventually get that. So, but I think I'm noticing a pattern is like your characters tend to start off with disabilities and or trauma, which, to be fair, for story-wise, I think is great. And I appreciate characters who feel like real people and have backgrounds and stories to them, especially when they're starting out. And it's a fine balance when if you're starting at level 1, you don't want, and I've said this before, you don't want to have like, I've slayed 12 dragons and defended 10 kingdoms. And then it's like, okay, day 1, you encounter 3 gobos and you get fucked. And it's like, something doesn't add up with your backstory, my man. So, but you also, depending on where you're starting out, like if you're starting as like a 35-year-old or a 40-year-old at level 1, well, you've had a life. You've had a history already that you need to kind of flesh out. And there can be both good and bad things in that history for it to sound like relatable and sound real. And I appreciate that very much. But I think, first off, is it a symptom of D&D campaigns as a whole? Very much so, because no D&D campaign is happy-go-lucky, smiles, rainbows,
There's
and
a
daisies.
reason you're adventuring.
Exactly. There's a reason you're adventuring, and when you're adventuring, you will encounter things that will fuck you up. And there is a very real chance for people to die, or for you to lose companions, or even just get into very near misses of losing companions. You guys just had one where you nearly lost everybody at one point. And it's just one of those things where it's like, I think if a character went through an entire D&D campaign, like your average D&D campaign where you're having combat, you're getting backstabbed, there's betrayals and there's fights and there's heroics and such, I think a character can go through all of that and not come out maybe a little harsh or a little grizzled would feel very, it would feel
inorganic.
It would feel too much like the lawful good paladin that everyone makes fun about, or the too much like the chaotic good bard that everybody jokes about, because you can't go from level 1 to level 20 and still be like, I'm just gonna go fuck the dragon kind of thing, because it's not realistic and it doesn't feel real or anything like that. But I mean, if that's the campaign you want to run, that's the campaign you want to run. I tend to run my campaigns with a little bit more quote unquote realism in high fantasy, but just feeling like people actually exist and they exist in this world. So is it
you may be the main characters, but you're not the main character of their story.
Correct. You very much so. So is it a symptom of your characters just kind of going through D&D? It could be. I think it would be wrong to assume that doesn't play any kind of impact. I think it definitely does. I think you starting off with heavy trauma in your characters might also influence it, because a lot of these traumas do not get resolved. They, if anything, they either don't get looked at all or they get worse. Like Alder, his trauma was he had an experience with his familiar and he wanted to figure out more information about that. And then he got a bunch of gods talking in his brain, influencing him, and was trying to drive him towards their goals, and you actively went, fuck you guys, I'm doing things my way. And I think that drove that anger a lot more. And that when you walked into fucking Ulgar with a burning, blazing shit above you, and people looking at you like, holy fuck, and you were like, I'm on top of the world, fucking do what you want, gods, kind of thing. And so I figured that kind of drove it. And then also with Fall here, you started off as a drunk, and then he lost his eyes, and then he got spider climb, and he just kept dying over and over and over. And yes, he kept coming back, but with more debilitating abilities and disabilities alongside it. So it just kept on like punching nails into the coffin that you could still come out of, but they were still being added to. And then even now with Linnaeus, you started off with gems and crystal stuff in your spine that was kind of ruining your nerves and your ability to move around properly. And then every time you agitated it, it got worse. And then it exploded. And then it paralyzed you. And it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. Now, mind you, you've asked for this, but
It's definitely made the character a lot more interesting.
I would say absolutely. It makes the characters a lot more interesting.
Rather than being just a plain Jane fighter.
Yes. But
Which is fine.
Which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But I also think the biggest problem in terms of you feeling like your character getting very, very gritty, because I would also agree on the other point that it is a part of you that's seeping into the characters, because you do tend to just kind of like, no, fuck that. I'm doing what I want. I'm not going to be persuaded. That just what it is.
I can be very stubborn.
Exactly.
And one thing about me is I don't give in to peer pressure.
And that's fine.
I just don't.
And that's fair. But that also bleeds into, I think, every one of your characters has bled that way. Yep. I think the only character that may not have had that much of you in it was Lythe. I think is the only character. I think Lythe would be the furthest separated from you character I've ever seen. Like Thader's the furthest separated from Alex. I would say Lythe is the furthest separated from you. But I think what you need to start doing, if this is something you don't want to do much anymore, or you want to reel it in, I think you need to look at your character's arc and what you want from them, and I think you need to start looking into, instead of delving deeper into traumas that you give your characters, you need to delve into a way to overcome them. I think a lot more, because I don't think any of your characters, even in campaigns that we finished, overcame their traumas or anything. Maybe
Lythe didn't have as much. Wasn't a traumatic case.
No, but he didn't really have anything to overcome per se.
Like he had a destiny to fulfill. And
yes,
that was it.
But that was about it. Like he didn't have any like backstory or anything that followed him around that he was dealing with, that he had to overcome.
Other than basically his god being him being like, I need to do these certain things when people die.
Yeah, but I wouldn't call that.
That was a quirk more than anything.
That was a quirk. That wasn't anything you needed to overcome or finish off or achieve. Whereas every other character has started with something. Every other character, every other one of your characters started off with something that is basically a chain and a ball connected to you.
Yep.
But your characters, the way that your characters deal with that ball and chain is very much headstrong forward. Yeah, it's not so much trying to figure out a way to take the chain off. It's trying
to wheel around the ball to break down a wall.
Well, that's not what I was going to say. I was going to say your characters, they're not so much trying to get the shackle off your leg. It's about building up enough strength that I can't feel the weight of it anymore.
Yep.
But it's still there.
Yep.
And
that is actually the most accurate statement.
That's how I look at your characters. Yep. And I think that if you don't want to feel like your characters are becoming so gritty and malcontent and distant all the time, I think you need to stop building strength to drag the ball and chain, because it's still there. You're just giving into it, and you're like, you know what, if I have to live with this, I have to live with this. So I'm just going to build up enough strength that I can just drag it around and not feel it anymore. When I think the better option is to be like, okay, how do I get rid of this? Instead of head to the grindstone and just fuck it, I'm doing it this way. How do I instead sit and look at everything in 360 and go, okay, how do I do it in multiple different ways? I think that's from my outside perspective. If you want to look at playing your characters differently, I think that would be the step to go, is to be like, okay, what is pushing me to be gritty, to be distant, and to be stubborn? and how can I move, not get rid of it by any means, but how can I go away? Yeah, how can I alleviate feeling like this in a different way? Because if you go in as like, well, this is the way I feel, so I'm going to be that way, instead of just being like, okay, I'm feeling it this way, how can I feel about this differently by still being me, if that makes any sense.
Still being the character.
Yes. How do I play this character without delving into the dirt and just being like, you know what? Fuck it. We're going to do it this way, because that's the easiest way to do it. Instead, we're going to like, okay, I know I could do it this way, but what other ways could I do it instead that may have a better outcome for both me and my party?
Mm-hmm.
Without sounding real philosophical and shit.
Hey, that's why I brought it up, because it is philosophical.
I guess in a way, but
shit.
That's the extent. I would say that would be my way of going about it. If you want to figure out a way to play your characters a little bit differently instead of delving into that, yeah, just acknowledge it's there and then realize I probably have other options I could do without delving into this. That's option 1, but let's look for option 2, 3, and move on from there.
Yeah, a lot of the times though, there is no other options, because either we're in a place that doesn't allow for that, or so I'm not pushing back. I'm just saying, especially in Linnaeus's case, what else is there to do besides literally get fucking operated on then and there.
No, and that's fair. And like, again, not every character is going to be in a situation where they can make that open understanding of like, well, let's look at different. Sometimes it's just like, you know what? I'm gonna be down in the dirt. I'm gonna be nitty gritty because fuck.
That's where I am.
That's
I'm
where
in
I
the
am.
wastes.
Yeah, so it's like, well, if you're already in the pool, then you might as well swim. Like, there's no reason to be like, I need to get out of the pool right now. It's like, well, can you swim? Yeah, well, then fucking swim. Just deal with it.
Swim, bitch.
Yeah, just if you're already there, make the most out of it. Do what you got to do. There are ladders. You can climb out at any time. But if you're already in there, fucking swim. Get some backstrokes in. Do what you got to do.
Yep. I'm sure that Linnaeus will come out of this better. But at the same time, just right now, that's what I'm really, especially as of last session, I'm really seeing it.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, that is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just something that I'm realizing about me and my characters.
I think the last thing I would say is for your next character in whatever campaign it is, regardless if it's mine or somebody else's, I think maybe try to lean away from starting with something debilitating.
Yeah.
It's fun for a DM. It's very good for story driving. But you can still make a very good backstory, and I know you can because I've read them, without having something debilitating. Mm-hmm. It's interesting, but I think it will also help you alleviate going down that nitty-gritty path.
Unless it's exactly what the character is supposed to do.
Yeah.
Like Rawl. Rawl was meant to be like nitty-gritty, I'm going to...
But that whole one-shot, two-shot was a nitty-gritty one-shot from the beginning. I set the tone. It was like, this is what it's going to be like. That's no different than Curse of Strahd, is a gothic horror setting with vampires and ghosts and specters, and there is no sunlight. And it's like, okay, well, I'm not going to build Happy the Clown, because it's not going to work.
You could.
You
but
could.
It's probably a very terrifying thing.
Exactly. So it's like, if the setting warrants it, then yeah, go for the setting. But because sometimes it's easier for that. So that's what I would say. Moving on. Sorry. Is it okay to move on? You got anything else?
That's all good. Yeah.
All right. We're going to look at chat here. So hello, Evie. Hello. And hello, Nermus. And hello, Very Chill. Just found this podcast right now. And oh, cool, it's recently new. It's as new as it can be because it's happening right now. Hi, Very Chill. We're looking at you. Welcome to the podcast. Hope you're having a good time. We're talking D&D right now. I don't know if we're going to continue talking because we've got... Well, I know we're going to continue talking, but I don't know if we're going to continue talking about D&D because we've got 26 minutes to go. Have you got any other topics about D&D you want to discuss?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay, cool.
That was kind of my big one.
That was your big one. Gotcha. I love how you started. I was like, I got a mini topic. It was like half an hour later.
Hey, that's what happens every time.
That's true. It is what
it is. Like the one rule.
Yeah.
When Torsten says it's over, it's not over.
No, it's not. Look at the times. Well, I mean, if you're watching this live, you can't. If I say, all right, we're probably going to wrap it up there, add 20 minutes to your clock. So
Usually.
Or just look at the timestamp and be like, no, you're not, motherfucker.
Flip a coin a couple times. Every time you win it, then it just keeps going.
Yeah, there's a idea for the game. Start watching the podcast from the very beginning all the way through, and every time Torsten says, let's wrap this up, and we're about to end, or we're going to be ending here soon, take a shot. No, take a shot.
Oh, God. How about no?
And no, actually, sorry, I lied. because sometimes I'll be like, all right, we're going to end the podcast there. And then I will actually be ending it. So that's not fair. Anytime I say like, all right, we're going to end the podcast there, look at the timestamp. If there's more than 10 minutes left, take a shot. There you go. You'll get a good fun time out of that.
Yeah, then there's like the 2-hour ones where it's like we're trying to end every like 30 minutes, and
Yeah.
it's like,
And then I had
by
something.
the way.
Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot it. And then I remember talking about something. So, but anyways, in terms of D&D, I don't really have a whole. Oh, actually, you know what? I kind of have something interesting to talk about in terms of D&D. It's not super new, but it's a little newsworthy kind of thing. I talked about the Netflix dilemma on the podcast before, right? Where Netflix said they were cracking down on password sharing, and everyone was saying yeah. So I've talked about how
more or less, I think. Like I know about it. I don't know if we've actually talked about it on the stream.
Okay.
But for people though.
So long story short, Netflix has been as the longest running like streaming service. Yeah, I guess that's the proper term. Longest running streaming service, and the most popular by far for many years. And for a long time, a lot of people would just make an account and they would share the passwords for their account for everybody. So you could just one person pays for Netflix and like 50 people watch for free. And Netflix was fine with that, and they even tweeted out like love is sharing a password, and like it was a thing.
And then they weren't.
And then they didn't because profits matter, and they started cracking down on password sharing, and they said only one account per per household is allowed to have a Netflix account, and if you wanted to add more accounts, you'd have to pay for more accounts per household. And everyone reacted online as you'd expect. Everyone freaked out and said, I'm never watching Netflix again. You can't make me pay for this. There's not as many good shows on Netflix as there is on other platforms, so I'm not going to bother paying for something I could get on other platforms for free, and yada yada yada. And everyone was like, this is the end of Netflix. Netflix is going to crash and burn once they cancel password sharing, and that was going to be the end of it. And then the day came, Netflix canceled password sharing, and one day later, they had the most signups they've ever had in their history, and they made more money in one day than they ever had over any previous month from all the new signups. Because when push comes to shove, internet talk meant nothing. And they all sign up anyways, and they're still paying for Netflix now, and it doesn't matter. Interesting enough, never happened here because I'm still on one account with my family. They have the one account at home, and my sister watches in Calgary, and I watch Netflix here. We never got asked to make new accounts, so we're flying under the radar.
Man,
yeah,
Netflix, get him.
This man right here, get him. But so for whatever reason, I don't know if it's Canada thing or if it's just a me thing, but we're flying under the radar, so we're fine. But anyways, I bring up that story because you remember the OGL debacle. All right, so. Pretty bad.
How could I forget?
Yeah, how could you forget? Yeah, it was a pretty bad thing, right? It's a pretty awful thing for Wizards to do. And a lot of people switched over to Pathfinder, and then Pazio, the people who make Pathfinder, were making their new 5th edition version because of the old open game license. They were calling it Black Flag, and a lot of people were going to sign up for play for that. A lot of people moving to other game systems, trying out other things, and a lot of people were saying that they liked Pathfinder, and they liked Call of Cthulhu, and they liked all these different 5e systems, and they're just going to play these instead. A lot of people talking about this online, and how new books and everything were going to dip, and D&D Beyond sales were going to dip, and everything was going to be awful, and it did, briefly. Because I'm happy to say that as of the most recent public reporting for assets for Wizards of the Coast via Dungeons & Dragons and D&D Beyond, they're back up to not even the same as before the OGL, but they've surpassed it. People have re-signed up for D&D Beyond, and they have more people than they did before the OGL debacle because they had a big drop-off when the OGL debacle happened, and then everyone re-signed up for D&D Beyond when they came out and they said, all right, you know what? We're not changing the OGL. Here's the free license. And better than that, we're also going to add all these other things to the SRD, which is a similar thing to the OGL, that weren't previously there. We're going to also add these onto it. So we're going to update it, and we're never going to touch it again. There you go. And it was like,
hey, that was the right choice.
That was the right choice. So not only was the right choice, it was even better than the right choice. Because the right choice was to be like, you know what? We're going to stop all this. We're going to leave the OGL alone just as is. That was the right choice. They did that, but they also went, all this other stuff that wasn't in the SRD before is now in SRD, public domain. You can use it freely. You don't have to ask us for any of it. So it was like they went far and beyond what they should have done. Fantastic. And I give props to that.
Take a W for that.
Yes, there's a W for that. But they still initially went at people's throats over the OGL and tried a lot of real bullshit maneuvers before getting to that point. And a lot of people said, too late or whatever the term is.
Too late.
Too little, too late. That was it. In terms of all this, like, yeah, you did something good, but everybody's already switched. Nobody's coming back. They're already playing all these games that everyone's saying is already better than D&D. But guess what?
Chicken butt.
They're back at playing D&D. Everyone re-signed up for D&D Beyond. They have more subscriptions now than they did before the OGL debacle. Pazio has changed the name from Black Flag to something else for the new 5th edition product, and it came out, and people were very excited for it. It did not sell very well. It does not have a lot of sign-ups and sales, which was a little disappointing considering how much promotion they were getting about all of this and how many people seem to be online talking about, you know, how they want to support this and they want to pay for it. And then when it actually came push to shove, they didn't. And it's another one of those things where it's like, you know what? Internet outrage sometimes can be a very accurate statement of what is actually going to happen. But we're seeing more and more now that a lot of times it is nothing more than internet outrage. And I always come back to this comic that I saw when I was in high school, where it's a 4-page comic and it's 2 women. And one woman is going like, can you believe Walmart enslaves children in third world countries to make all their product and everything? And the other lady goes like, oh my God, are you serious? And she's like, yep, they do all this horrible stuff. And that's why the prices are so low, is because they have all bingo. Yeah. And it comes to the last product and she goes, hey, Walmart's having a sale 20% off. And the lady that was just talking about all this, can you believe Walmart does that? She goes, oh, whose car are we taking? It doesn't matter. When push comes to shove and it actually comes down to you as a person and what you will actually do, not just voice, but actually do, it doesn't matter. You will still do the same thing. And it was proven with Netflix when everyone was like, I'm never watching Netflix again. I don't need it. And then the crackdown came and they went, you know what? I do need Netflix. And they signed up for it. And then the crackdown came for D&D and D&D Beyond. And they went, you know what? I'm still going to play D&D. And they all signed back up for D&D Beyond. And then, yeah, with the Walmart thing, is like, everybody knows that Walmart is not a great company, that they do pretty bad things to get their products, but they're still a multi-billion-dollar company. They're not hiding anything. Everyone knows that for a fact. You can see made in China on all of it. People still buy it.
The unfortunate truth.
Yeah, everyone wants to support mom and pop shops, but they're not ready to pay $20 for a t-shirt they can get at Walmart for $8. That's just a fact. But they will absolutely go online on Facebook and Twitter and say about how this $20 t-shirt is much better quality, is machine washable, and will stay better and will stay quality for years to come. But right after making that post, when they go put clothes in the wash, that $8 shirt's part of that wash. They never even touch the $20 shirt. Because that's just how people are. That's just how the world runs. And it's just one of those things where I'm like, you know what? Every time I see internet outrage about something right now, it always from before a lot of this, I would be like, you know what, you guys are right. And like, this is crazy. This is going to be awful. And now I look at things a little bit more with a skeptical eye. Well, I would say, I mean, yeah, I guess cynical, but also I'd look at things a lot more skeptical because I see a lot of people talking about cancel culture as well as kind of the thing where a lot of people will try and cancel a creator for something they did or something they said, and they'll just like backlash and rip them apart and everything. But I've talked about this before. Is like the only way to actually be canceled as either a business or a creator is to admit you did something wrong or to try and apologize for it, because the moment you give into it, you are ruined. And a perfect example of that is a creator known as Jay Schlatt. Do you know Jay Schlatt?
I see them here and there.
Okay. Jay Schlatt is a phenomenal creator. I think he's a fantastic, hilarious creator, and he has been attempted to be canceled multiple times because there is a certain community that feverishly hates him because he's made fun of a lot of Minecraft creators and he just doesn't like Minecraft. He used to play Minecraft and then he stopped playing Minecraft, and he just shits on Minecraft creators and makes fun of them all the time. And then those Minecraft people and their fans come at him and they say like, you can't be doing this kind of stuff. You can't make fun of other content creators. You're an awful human being and everything.
He can.
Absolutely he can. But the thing is, he's never apologized for it once. He doesn't say sorry. He doesn't admit that he could be a better person. He just says, fuck you guys. I'm going to do what I want. And I think I've shown you the video of where he made a bot on Twitch that would ban anybody that had Minecraft in their name or anybody who had like Dream in their name or anything like that. So he made a script and a bot and he made a live stream. He said, I was going to tell everybody about my thoughts about the Minecraft community and I would be upset and I would apologize for it. So all these people came to his Twitch live stream and he clicked a button and you could watch in real time just of people just getting banned. And he just sat there and he fucking laughed at them.
I do remember that. Yep.
Yeah. And it was the most amazing thing ever. And to this day, He's still very popular. He still makes tons of money. He's still a very well done content creator, because you do not give in to peer pressure. You do not give in to what the mob wants out of you. The moment you do that, they got what they want, and they will keep going. Because anybody on internet, when they ask for outrage, what they want is they want to feel like they're part of something. They want to feel like they're achieving something, because they can't do a lot behind their keyboard and their mouse, but they want to feel like they can do something. So the moment that you get them to do something, they feel vindicated. They feel alive. They feel like, yes, we got him to go that far. Can we get him to go more? Can we get this even further? And you just get apology video after apology video, and then everyone dunks on them, and everyone says you don't have a backbone, and they disappear from the internet, and they go, oh yeah, we fucking got him. Who's next? And they move on to another mob. Your best bet is to just be like, all right, try me. And
try me, bitch.
Yeah. Because the moment, and that's, I mean, I don't mean to make this about me, but it's the same thing when it comes to bullying, because that happened back in middle school for me back in, was it Percy Baxter was the School of the Stars or whatever?
Yep.
Yeah. So I can't remember who it was. But this was back when I had long hair, not a mullet, just regular long hair. And I was being made fun of, and I was being called a girl all the time. And I was just like, whatever.
Classic middle school
stuff. And I was like, I was upset about it, but I didn't really do anything about it. It was just kind of like, well, this is annoying. And I just do whatever. And I would get pushed into lockers a couple of times. And I came home and I talked to my parents about it one time. And my dad... Oh, my dad was a ruthless man. Sorry, he's alive. He is a ruthless man. I didn't mean was. But at that moment, and I was like, I was very surprised to hear, because my dad's the one that brought it up, and then my mom got involved in it, and she agreed with him, and I was blown away. Because when I talked to them about it, and I told them I was getting made fun of at school, and I was getting pushed into lockers, they were like, why aren't you fighting back? And I was like, because it's in school. And they were like, Torsten, you're in boxing. You go to boxing Tuesdays and Thursdays. This kid doesn't. What are you doing? Fight back. And I was like, but I'll get in trouble. And they were like, we will come there. That's fine. Because they told me, it was like, when this kid pushes you or he shoves you or anything, are his friends around? And I said, yes. And they're like, that's why he's doing it. He's trying to prove to his friends that he's stronger and he's better, and they're picking on you because you're an easy target. Sorry, that's the fact. You got long hair. What do you want? Like, that's just they were straight out.
You're a little
like,
bitch. That's what you get.
I was like, they were straight out. They were like, you want to have long hair. This is what happens when you have long hair, but you have to back that up. You can't let them push you. So and my dad told me, is like, the next time he does that, you whirl on him and you tell him after school, behind in the playground when all the buses have left and all the other kids are gone, fight me there. I will be waiting. And he said, you do that, I guarantee you he won't show up. He will back down. But you make sure you tell him this in front of his friends so that they all hear this. And I was like, okay, sounds good. And they said, we will be there. You missed the bus. That's fine. We will pick you up afterwards. We will be there. And I said, okay. So the next day, I was at my locker, and the kid went by, and he shoved me into the locker, and I whirled on him, and I said, whatever his name was, I can't remember. I think it was Vincent. I don't remember.
Oh, it sounds like Vincent.
Does it sound like a Vincent? Okay, I don't remember.
I know we had a Vincent.
Okay,
The one that I had was Derek, the little tiny guy.
Oh, I remember Derek, yes. Derek never picked on me. Derek and I were actually chill for whatever reason.
Yeah, we were chill after the fucking camp. I just went in, like, they were hanging out in the washroom. I just, like, sat down and hung out.
Oh, chill.
And then it was like, whatever.
Yeah, that was a weird thing. I didn't expect me and Derek to ever get along. But we did. Like, he came over multiple times. We went skidooing together. It was great. So, I don't know. But I have a vivid memory.
Then there's Nick.
Oh, Nick was a different thing
Nick
entirely.
Was,
yeah.
He was a bastard through and through.
Yeah.
Nick was entire way through high school, too.
Yeah. He wasn't a great guy.
No, he
wasn't. But anyway, so I think it was Vincent. I don't remember who Vincent was, but I just have the name Vincent in my head.
Oh, was it he had a weird looking head, right? And
I don't know.
And he had like a bowl cut almost.
I don't know.
For a while.
I don't know.
No. He had the fucking like Justin Bieber haircut for a while.
If you say so, I don't remember. I have the name Vincent in my head, but I don't remember what they look like.
Vincent, maybe it was a black hair guy, bigger chin. I don't know, man.
I don't know. Either way, so if it wasn't Vincent, sorry, but we're just going to go with Vincent for now, yeah. But I whirled around and I said, Vincent, I'm fucking tired of this. If you want to fight, let's fight, but I'm not going to do it here. After school, behind in the playground, just you and me. None of your friends, just you and me. You want to do this, let's do this. After school, when all the buses are done, we'll do this. I'll be there. I will wait for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him that. And he was taken aback. And he was like, fuck, okay. All right, loser. I'll see you after school. You fucking idiot. And he went off. And I was shitting my jorts because I was like, yeah, I go to boxing, but this isn't going to be boxing.
No, sir.
So I was shitting my fucking pants over this whole ordeal. But I was like, all right, I got to prove this. So after school and everything, I went there and I waited. He never showed up. And you know what's the best part about it? He never talked to me again after that. He never shoved me in a locker or anything. Nothing. Didn't do anything. And I never even had to throw a punch. He never even showed up. So the moral of the story being is that
threaten your bully.
Yeah, threaten. Well, no, I mean, don't actually threaten them. But I mean, if that
Don't do this.
Yeah, don't do that. But the moral of the story is that, like, if you give in to peer pressure, if you give in and you let something keep happening to you, and then you give into it, they want an inch so they can drag it out and take it a mile. And if you give them that inch, they will take it a mile.
That's why I was bullied, because I gave a reaction.
Yeah. See,
and then I stopped giving a reaction. Then nobody cared.
Yeah, and that's exactly the thing. Because if someone can do this, eventually they will get tired of doing this. If nothing happens. But if they do this and you snap at them, they go, I got what I wanted. I got the attention. I'm sorry for the clap. I'm sorry for it. But it's
That hurt my ears.
Sorry. But that's the thing, is that they want that. And it's the same thing with people wanting to cancel celebrities and companies. They want a reaction. They want to feel like they did something. They want to see that apology video. They want to see that I'm sorry tweet.
I like how we're equating cancelers to bullies. I mean, it's true.
Well, it's true, though. It's the same thing.
It's just funny.
I mean, it's a little bit funny. But, like, morally, it is the same thing. It's done through a different medium, but it's the same core mechanic of push.
Core mechanic.
Well, yes. The meta.
IRL mechanics.
The meta for canceling.
Mechanics.
The meta for canceling is this. In patch 2013.
2013.
And patch 2020 was a pretty bad patch, and things changed. But anyways,
hindsight is 2020.
Lamau. So, but anyways, that's just the thing I really discovered, is that to be fair though, there is a very key point though. If you do something actually deplorable, actually wrong, like a celebrity is outed to be a pedophile, and there is undeniable truth, video evidence, photos, emails, all this kind of shit. Yeah, then it's like, yes, there is an actual reasoning to dunk on this person and get them off a platform. But the only way to cancel a person and get rid of them is for them to cancel themselves by leaving the platform or their areas of concern themselves, or for the platform itself to get rid of them.
Thank you, X.
Yes.
With a certain orange man.
Yes. Well, you know,
to a point.
To a point. Did I ever tell you though that when Elon Musk took over, he unbanned him?
Yes, I know.
Yeah, but he didn't come back anyways, because he made his own version of Twitter. It was just a Donald Trump website where he could post whatever he wanted, and yeah, because when he got banned from Twitter, he was like, well, what do I do now? So he made his own website. I can't remember what it is, but it's basically, essentially a forum, but it's only for Trump to post to. So
well, he was back on Twitter because he's going in court right now.
Well, he's been indicted a second time. Like, damn, how many times we got to do this to you, old man, before people realize maybe you're not a good person? So.
Yeah, and then it's like sorry, I'm getting off track here.
Oh, it's all good.
There was a thing where being like, I won't do this, I won't do this, I won't do this, I won't do this, I won't try and intimidate people, I won't be doing this. And this is something that the court mandated, and he signed off on it. Literally, like, the next day, he fucking went on Twitter and went like, I will come after all of you. And it's just like, are you fucking kidding me? You're literally digging your own fucking grave.
It's like, bro, come on, man. It was the same thing with, like, when they found a bunch of, like, classified documents he wasn't supposed to have at his summer home in Mar-a-Lago. And he had publicly went on record, and he was like, I never took anything classified from the White House. I turned over everything. I never took anything from that. And he went on the record saying that. And then on a separate record, a separate phone call, you can hear him, and he knows he's on this call is the worst part. He knows he's being recorded. And he's showing someone something. He says, like, have you seen this before? Technically, I can't show you this because it's classified, but, I mean, what are they going to do? Take it away from me? It's here now. It's like, look at this. This is crazy, isn't it? And the guy in the background is like, like nervously laughing because he realized what's happening. And he's like, yeah, but like, it's nothing that big. It is classified, but it is whatever. And like, both of them know they're being recorded. This is a recorded meeting. What are you doing, you dumbass? So
Trump has never been the, how do we say, smartest.
No, but coming full circle again to like canceling and everything though.
Get him out of here.
The problem being is though, he became president.
Mm-hmm.
You can only be president if you're voted in. Half the country, more than half the country, voted him in.
Unfortunately.
You can't be canceled for being a bad person. You could still be a bad person, and there will always be people to support you.
Case in point.
Case in point, Trump. And case in point, like, almost anybody, really. You can be a bad person and do bad things. There will always be people to support you. There are tons of YouTubers that I despise. I do not like them. But they have millions of subscribers. They get tons of views every video because even though I don't like them, and a lot of people don't like them, guess what? There are people who do. And they're going to keep supporting them. And until they fully give in to things, like a perfect example of that is, what was that fucking creator? I can't even remember his name. He was a makeup creator. He was a dude. I can't remember. There was a young makeup creator who was, he was gay, but he would always go after straight men and convince them they were gay for him. It was a bad time. He would message straight men and try to go out with them. And Jeffree Star, no, not Jeffree Star. Jeffree Star is the older guy. There was a younger guy that did it. He was Nermus will find out. But but he did all these horrible things, and he would like try to convince straight men that didn't want to be with him that they were to be with him. And the worst part is these straight men were also under 18, so it was even worse. So
straight boys.
Yeah, straight boys, to be fair. And all of this came to public. Like, all of them came out against this creator and everything, and they made an apology video, and they did all this stuff, and they tried to justify it, and they still kept on apologizing. They lost millions of subscribers. They lost TV shows and everything. But guess what? YouTube did not get rid of them. Despite doing actual illegal things with actual proof about it, YouTube didn't get rid of them. And if YouTube didn't get rid of them, guess what? They still got views, they still got a channel, they're still making videos, and they're still making tons of money. Because you cannot cancel a creator unless they fully give into it or the platform itself gets rid of them. His best option, like in the face of all this, was to not even acknowledge it ever. Because the internet and the people online are very fickle. They're very, if they don't get a response in a very short period of time, they'll stop, they'll move on. Because they want a response now. It has to be now. It has to be within a day or so. If it doesn't happen, they move on. They forget about it. And they just continue going about their day. And unfortunately, a lot of creators can't just let things go. They can't just let things sit and wait. They have to respond. They got to be on top of things. They got to do it now for views, for clout, to make sure they don't fall off and become irrelevant. It's just like, just fucking breathe. Just sit down and realize, okay, have you done anything criminal? No. Have you done anything horrendously wrong? No. Then what's the problem? These aren't, the people who are mad at you aren't your fans. They're not your audience.
Some of them could be.
Some of them could be, but just ignore them. Move on. Keep making the content you want to make. Don't even acknowledge it. Don't give them anything. Because the moment you give them something, they will take it a mile. But if you don't give them anything, you don't lose. You can't lose. You're the creator. You're the content creator. You're the company. You're the social media influencer. You have it all. They don't have that. They just want something. Don't give it to them. That's the answer. But too many people, it's like, oh, but I don't want to upset people. I have to acknowledge this. I have to get out in front of this. It's like, no, you don't. You don't. Unless it's actually illegal. Then, yeah, you probably do something.
Do not pass go.
Yeah.
Go to jail.
But like perfect example with J-Slide. It's like, did you do anything illegal? No. Then fuck them. Or even better, turn it around and make it content that actually works for you, not against you. Like saying, I'm going to make an apology video and everything on this stream. Everybody come down. And then just mass ban. And then everybody else who was still your fan or was maybe there just because they want to be part of the drama. They just want to see what's going on. Suddenly watch this and they go, whoa. And then bingo. You've now, not only have you now completely removed anybody that could be against you. They can't even comment in your chat anymore. But anybody who was just there just to watch the drama unfold has now become a fan because they realized how stalwart you are against being like, I will not be pushed by you kids. I'm bigger than that. I'm stronger than that. And guess what? I'm the content creator. You're watching my content. Who's winning? It's not you. So that's the finale of all that fun jazz. So, and right at 7 o'clock. So there you go. I've got nothing else really to add to that. Cancel culture sucks. Sometimes it's warranted. Most of the time, it's just an angry mob that wants to be involved in something, and your best bet is to just ignore it. Just move on, continue doing what you're doing. Unless
it's illegal, then don't.
Unless you've done something illegal, then yeah, maybe you should figure that out. But if you're just, people don't like you because you're you, don't stop being you for the sake of them. They're not your audience. They're not your fans. They're people who heard about you and want to be involved in something. Don't give that to them.
Mm-hmm.
Because the best part is that people will hear about it and they'll be like, who is this? And they will go find you. And guess what? You will get fans out of that because they will see you through this drama. That's why all media is good media. Any news is good news for content creators, because the more people talk about you, the more they live rent-free up in your head, the more exposure you get. The worst thing you can do to a content creator is ignore them. Mm-hmm. I've said that before as well. The worst thing you can do is ignore them. Logan Paul has famously said, my haters are my biggest fans, because people hate watch his videos, they hate comment, they dislike, they downvote, but Logan Paul lives free in their heads. They think about Logan Paul, they see Logan Paul, and they despise him, so they hate watching his videos, so they can talk drama about him. And guess what? His name gets trending. People look at, what's Logan Paul? And guess what? They bring in more eyeballs. That's just how the world works. That's how online media works. So. Shitty, but.
The reality
of it. And you just gotta understand that's the reality of it.
And the reality of this stream is that we're ending.
We are ending. We are at 7 o'clock, and we got to end, and that is that. Smooth indeed. Smoothest transition ever. Call you... Who's the Segway dude?
I don't know, man.
God, the creator of the Segway.
I know you're trying.
I tried. Whatever. It's gone now. Moment's gone. All right. Dean Kamen. That's it.
There it
yeah.
is.
All right. That was a perfect Dean Kamen.
You just had to bring it back in Bricky voice,
yeah.
isn't it?
you
had to replay it. Like, it had to be said in either Bricky or DK's voice.
No,
didn't it?
I actually just thought of Adeptus Ridiculous, and I saw the picture of him on screen, and I was like, I know his name, and then I just Dean Kamen just came to me. So, anyways, all right, have yourselves a good one. Thank you guys so much for coming down to the Totally Unstructured podcast. If you enjoyed it, tell your friends. If you didn't, well, you can tell us, but neither. Well, Jackson doesn't have Twitter, and I don't have
Twitter.
I also don't have Twitter. I have an X. Well,
I still hate that.
I have several X's. It's complicated. I posted an X video. I made it.
Okay, I'm leaving.
Yeah, all right. Thank you guys so much for being here. We will see you guys in... Oh, I guess we won't see them in 2 weeks because I'm going away.
See you next time.
We'll see you next time. We'll see you in September. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye. Whoop.